Okay, welcome everybody to a Wednesday episode of Incubator Weekly. Today on the show, we've got August Demanchuk. How's it going, August?
Hey, what's up, Ryan? How's it going?
It's going good. Yeah, thanks for jumping on with me. I just saw you recently rejoin the Dash community. You've been around for a long time, a while. Um, had some other things going apparently for a couple years maybe, and now you're back. Um, so just wanted to say welcome back and thanks for joining back again. It's always great to have more community. The more community the better, and Dash is kind of known for having a good vibrant community, especially for the size of our project. It's I think it punches above its weight in that respect. But yeah, let us know, tell us about your journey a little bit and where you've been in terms of Dash, and what's got the fire in your belly recently.
All right, so just a little bit of background of anybody that's new or just learning about me. So I had a project in the past through the Dash DAO called Bit to Byte, and that was a STEM like an education and mentorship program where we would have older students run classes for younger students, like high school, college students, and we were teaching some of the basics um, of uh, of coding and introducing blockchain. And I know there's a little bit of um, kind of ground that I need to kind of explain. But just for some background, I got into a pretty tough place a few years ago, and I was going through some stuff internally, and I passed everything along to my co-founder and kind of went separate ways with that. And I know that there's probably some people and probably some masternode owners and community members that kind of hold a grudge over that. And I'm here to come back, and I'm here to give. I want to learn what opportunities I can take on, what I can help with. I'm here to kind of build trust again. I'm here to prove myself. I've got some experience over the years now. I've been learning a lot. Um, and I've still been in the blockchain space. I've been within some other communities. I was with the Solana community for a while and getting some experience there. And I want to kind of take some of my perspective and share it with the community. And So I'm working on a few projects. Um, and this is kind of, I want to start a new chapter. And I'm looking to kind of bring back the energy and momentum that we had. Like you were saying, this community, it kind of stands out. Like nothing is really like the Dash community. Like we have this like strong mindset kind of internally, and um, I miss those vibes. Like I miss that energy, and so I'm looking to try to see if I can help to bring that back. I posted on Twitter the other day saying how like um, the cool thing about Dash is that it's very like voice and community driven. It's very driven by the people, by the community, the people that use it. Um, and I was saying how like we should be. This is kind of to get like philosophical and all that, but like the world, I don't think should be run by money. It should be run by people. And I think Dash does a good job of like highlighting and empowering people to kind of um, take on different roles and to kind of be a leader. And that's why I was saying like this community has a really kind of deep soul and spirit. And I want to kind of harness that, and I want to kind of get the conversation going again. So that's what I'm here with my project called TheSame.Page. And what I was working on with that is a kind of an idea sharing platform. So originally I wanted to make it like a social media platform, for getting on the same page,
Mm-hmm.
and having like a button on pages and threads where you can say, I'm on the same page. And then kind of having like engagement and like, what's the word, kind of be consensus driven. So kind of be a platform for making decisions, deciding things together. And so that's what I wanted to get into, maybe build for the Dash DAO. So that's my presentation here. You can see my screen, correct?
Not yet. But just before
Yeah.
you
Okay.
jump into that, what's your
Yeah.
Twitter profile? X.com/.
It's August James D, and then the other one is TheSame.Page is our for our project.
Okay.
And so that's my goal with the same page, is to kind of get the Dash community on the same page about things, kind of increase engagement and kind of spark the conversation. Um, and I think this could be like a tool and a resource for the Dash community where we could vote on things. Like that's one of my biggest things I want to help with, is increasing like voting engagement and voting on proposals. Um, and so I have some ideas for how I can do that with the same page. Um, Also, the website is still, it's kind of temporary. It's like a preview of our website and services. So I'm looking to build another one. It's not set up to work. You can go to the website, but you can't create a profile or an account yet. Um, let's
Okay.
see. So let me know when you can see my screen.
Yep. Yeah. Let's just say hello to Black Mirror Designer. Thanks for
Hey.
he's saying good night. It's a good morning for me. It's good afternoon ish for you, I think. August. You're in Chicago, right?
Yes.
And also, before we forget, you're also looking for local people around the Chicago area to work with in this endeavor of yours. And just for context, just before I forget, also, I'm having you on the show because my purpose in Dash right now is to try to foster what people like you are trying to do, where you're trying to gather some community, get people together on the same page with projects, building on and around Dash and cryptocurrency in general. And yeah, that's totally my vision as well, is that the people are the most important part of a project. Um, and if you have a good base of people that are, to use your phrase, on the same page about something, in Dash, I think it's pretty easy to be on the same page because we have such a good brand. We have that brand of digital cash, and that's something that almost everybody can really get behind, because our monetary systems used to be cash, and everybody kind of loves that idea of cash, of being a private, something that you own, kind of thing. But as we're moving into the digital realm, it's important that we have a digital version of what cash used to be. So that's why we can kind of be on the same page in the Dash community about at least that fundamental level. But before anything else, let's jump right into your presentation, and let's have it. So
Okay.
now everybody's now seeing your slides.
Okay, cool. So I have kind of two main initiatives and projects that I'm working on. So one is the same page, and then one is something that I was thinking about, is like a protocol and a framework for coordination called Waves. But then in this document, I kind of just have a collection of like ideas that I think could help us out at this point that we're in. And so one of those is, okay, so let's get on the same page. And what I really want to do with the same page is kind of talk about what we need the most, what we need to build the most, what's the one of the, or like some of the strongest models that we can build and focus on as a community. And so one of the problems that I hope to solve is low masternode voting turnout and engagement. And there's a few ways I think we can solve this. But one, I would like to make the same page kind of an extra, like a forum for the Dash community and Dash voters to communicate and kind of build. My long-term vision is I really want to help us build like policies within the DAO. And so I'm thinking this can be kind of a way where we can create those and discuss those and vote on those. And my other idea.
Wait, before you jump
Yeah.
forward with the solution, just real quick, if I could ask some questions every now and then, I want to stick with the problem for just a little bit. If you wanted to back up just one slide, on the problem. low masternode voting turnout and engagement. Let's like we got some time. We're only 10 minutes in, and I think you have like a 15 or 20-minute presentation. So let's take a little bit of time making sure that we are on the same page about the problem. Because personally, when it comes to voting, I do see that there could definitely be more voters, but I also see that we actually have a pretty engaged community in terms of voting when you compare it to alternatives like maybe other DAOs. I think are complete ghost towns or controlled by only a few whales or VCs and their friends that kind of started the coin. I've noticed I've been in and working in the DAO, the Dash DAO for years now, and I've noticed that yes, the participation has gone down a little bit, but the engagement of those involved is almost as good as it's ever been. So I just wanted to put some of my own in framing around the problem because I think, let's see, you right now you need about 300 votes for a proposal in our DAO to pass, and there are about like that's 10% of the voting master of the master nodes themselves. It's a little bit weird because there's two different types of master nodes now. But why don't you dig a little deeper and tell us more from your perspective what the problem is in that context? Like what do you want to see a little bit more of?
So I think it goes back to really the roots of like blockchain and what it enables us to do, and that's like make decisions together and kind of and verify things together. And what I want to do is try to create like a culture of engagement, like a culture of like people discussing and talking, and kind of like a consensus driven community. And I think that we could even offer like rewards or incentives for voting. So like we could gamify it, add like a point system. You could even have it so that the amount of voters every month determines like an extra fund or pool or something, or like a bonuses. I think there's a lot of ways that we could do that, but what I want to create is like this culture of like collective decision making. And what I want to do, so one of my thoughts was we can start with like a question of the day and just ask like a question. What I wanted to do is on the TheSame.Page website is like create a question for the Dash community, the masternode owners, and then we could reward Dash to some of like the top answers, or people could vote on that and kind of do these like daily questions, and kind of get the community. And what I want to do too is kind of like log that, like the community's answers to those questions, and that can kind of be like an alignment tool that the Dash community could use. So that's one of my ideas, like a question of the day. I know, isn't that like, it's a simple thought, but I think that has like a lot of potential, and it's like, it's what we make it, right? And people can vote on the questions that they have. Like they could submit questions ahead of time. We could make it like a question of the week too, or like, important decision or important question. And the other big thing is,
Give us an example. Give us an example question. I'm thinking of things already. I think this is a great idea, because it's both informative and fun. But give us an example of a question of the day that you might come up with.
Like question of the day. Like an example of one could be, how do we, I mean, the one that we're answering right now, how do we increase engagement or voter participation? The other one could be, how do we stand out as a community or like as a network? How do we kind of differentiate ourselves from the other networks and blockchains? there's another question could be like, what makes Dash Dash? Like, what makes us kind of in that kind of stand out,
Okay.
and what and like what we could be. I think that's the other thing is like ask questions, like get the community, and this is a shared collective vision. We should be making a collective vision for Dash like as a community. And so one of the things we could ask is like, what could Dash be known for, or like what could be like um, our pillars, like our foundations. So that's kind of my goal with like the question. And I want
Well,
to create
I'm
just
glad
like
I
a
asked you the
website.
follow-up question because
Mm.
I was actually taking it in a different direction. I thought you were referring to like questions related to specific proposals in the DAO, like what was
I mean, they could be. I just want to feature a question as like the talking point for the day or something, or for the week.
okay,
Does that
gotcha.
make sense? So like it
Yeah.
could be like a question for proposal owners, and then it could be to try to raise like awareness for that project within the incubator, for example.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, kind of community talking points. I even it's a really cool thought. I had this idea for, imagine like a digital talking stick, like write the code for a digital talking stick that you could kind of pass along and write, and you could write up, make it like with a blockchain where people answer and then pass it on to somebody, or I thought that was like a cool, interesting concept. It was something that I would like to maybe pursue with the same page. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, so that's
Okay,
like
so that's
for,
idea number one, question of the day.
yeah. um yeah, so just share, reward, maybe give like rewards to some of the best answers. The other one was voting rewards and voting reputation. I would like maybe even to challenge the community, like have a, like pose this as a challenge for somebody to take on, where you could do some sort of reward and incentive system for masternode owners. I even had this thought of where every time you vote, you get, or like depending on how much, yeah, like every time you vote, your name gets entered into like a lottery, and then we randomly select voters or Dash voters to receive Dash back for voting and making decisions. So I think that's an interesting concept we could explore. Instead of just making it like consistent, like you automatically get Dash back if you vote, like we can make it so it's a little bit of like random. Um, we could even do like reward people that are the most engaged in the conversation. So like if they're commenting on a proposal, um, we could have like, um, even just like starting kind of like a tipping culture within the community, but where like we are like supportive of each other, people's ideas and projects, and like
Mhm.
kind of like our project managers, like everybody kind of takes on a project management role in a sense, or as far as like their perspective, or what they want to share.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that was one of my ideas, like a raffle system. Um, then um, the other one, so I said like the idea of like circularity, or kind of like a tipping coordination culture, where we could even, I would love to do some sort of like program, or if somebody wants to start this, like an incubator for masternode owners to like partner with projects. I even had the thought of like kind of like working units or working teams, where like we could match community members to a masternode like representative or a masternode owner. We could do like teams of like 10 or something, and then like make decisions together. And I thought that could be, because not everybody can afford a Dash masternode. And so I thought like having some type of like community like pods or like sessions where you get to talk to someone and like you can vote and make decisions together. Um, I thought that was an interesting concept that we could explore. Um,
Yeah. So this bullet point, just in case somebody's not watching but
oh yeah.
is listening instead, says enable and encourage Dash Masternode owners to contribute to and fund projects in addition to the Dash Treasury funding projects. So I know that in the past, Joel has championed this idea of trying to get certain Masternode owners to contribute the first little seed funding, or at least some kind of funding to show that an idea was worth more funding from the treasury. So you're saying additional funding, not necessarily in like prior to putting up a proposal like Joel was doing, but yeah, I think that anytime that you can get somebody to give you their money from their personal pocket, that does show
Speaks more than,
interest for sure. And it helps to get that masternode owner engaged in the outcome of the project. So yeah, I can speak from personal experience that I would personally like more feedback from masternode owners, because if there's one thing that's lacking, it is that text-based feedback. We get feedback in terms of votes. That comes in pretty well. Like I was saying earlier, like the voting feedback is really good. In Dash, there's almost always enough voting to get things either passed or not passed, and it's not really ever a problem that we don't have enough votes. But it is very rare that we get enough comments and feedback when there's not some when the votes are negative, or even when the votes are positive, like I don't know what I'm doing right, but I guess I'm doing something right, that kind of stuff. So yeah, anything else you wanted to say about this item number 3, now that we've kind of read it in its entirety?
I think it does, like I think we could even do something where like maybe we could do like a program where you have to raise money from the community first, and then you could get access to the treasury, or to do proposals from the treasury, or like so one of my thoughts was something called a same-page like context receipt, and that could be like in the governance world, that could be like a file or like a receipt that shows how many people are behind an idea, or quote unquote on the same page about something. So kind of like a governance receipt, and that could be used as that could be used to kind of prove to investors and to kind of build trust. And so I think that could be interesting. So kind of encouraging community members to support each other's projects and ideas, and kind of building like a culture of support, and like a culture of coordination. And then the next thought I would love to do is with the same pages, like hackathons, like governance hackathons. I've been exploring this world of governance a little bit, and I'd love to connect with some community members to share ideas and what's been working, and what we haven't tried yet, and maybe doing like challenges with those. We could start them from the question of the day too. Like the questions of the day could start as different things. They could turn into events. They could turn into, they could turn into projects. And then this is my big kind of, oh yeah, sorry.
Oh, before we get to the big thing, let's hang on governance hackathons for just a little bit. Tell people what a hackathon is, because some people might not be aware of the term, and then what makes a hackathon a governance hackathon?
So I want to make like a governance DApp store with the same page, and allow people to build and have like governance DApps on the website. And something that I wanted to do is like kind of really like go into like the philosophy of governance, and go into like research it together as a community, and kind of brainstorm ideas to increase engagement, but make it in like a meaningful way. I think in my world of Solana, the big thing that they, and this is a big thing in every kind of blockchain and DAO, is in building a product, is creating like an experience, creating something like meaningful or memorable. And so that's kind of my thoughts for the governance hackathons, is kind of pose, challenges to the community. How can we make more decisions together? How can we make like better decisions together? How can we make more like effective decisions together? And then, what tools can we use to do that? What tools can we, what tools do we need? What can we build um, to what can we build to help us, get on the same page? And I think though, I think I haven't seen anybody do like a governance hackathon, but I thought it's like a really unique kind of like focus kind of section. Um, because I think that's at the root of what blockchain kind of is. It's like it's shared ownership, and it's it's community based, it's community driven, and it's just like decision driven. Like I think like networks um, are kind of, they're run and managed by decisions that the community makes. So I think any way that we can kind of inspire more people to think about this stuff, and solve some of these things,
Yeah.
and to keep the conversation going. So that's my goal with if we do these hackathons, is just to keep the conversation going. Kind of building up momentum as we build.
Just a little bit more from my perspective on the hackathon thing. Just for anybody who doesn't know or isn't aware, like the term is kind of a spin on the word marathon, where, in a marathon, you're running for 26 miles. It's a long time. This is like, so like, it's not like a sprint, it's more of a marathon. So these hackathons, sometimes they'll go for days or weeks, or sometimes even months long. So you'll have a specific category, and you'll say like, build something related to governance. And you have 3 weeks or the whole month to complete that. And then at the end of the month, you submit your code and your application. And then there are some judges that say, we think that this is number 1, 2, and 3, and then that you get some bounties. So that's the general idea of a hackathon. It is something that I have wanted to do in the incubator itself for a while. I'm waiting on a good SDK. I have to give that plug because it's like the most important thing that we can have because when you're a developer, you need, that's basically what a hackathon is usually oriented around, is it's saying you can build whatever you want, but it has to have a significant portion of the application has to use this SDK, whether that's like, or this framework, or this library. And so, yeah, we definitely need some good tools for people to use. We have some, but yeah, there are some questions about like what's going to survive, like what SDKs are going to be continued to use. We have a Rust SDK. I'm looking for a JavaScript SDK. So anyway, I just wanted to put in a little plug for that. I love the idea of governance as well. Let's move on to your next point, because I know that you thought that was the most important part. So let's give that the time it needs.
So the main model and kind of idea that I've been working on as of late is something called like a Waves protocol. And so what I want to do is create something along the lines of like when you launch something or share something as a community, and when you want to like kind of tell your story as a community, you could build or like launch like a wave. And these could be like funding rounds for projects. You could launch a funding round as a wave. But what I really wanted to do is like make it so that these are kind of collective community sprints, like tasks that anybody can kind of contribute to and help out with. And I wanted to kind of build this as like a building block for coordination. And so you could have like teams, and you could like create a wave with other people. And you could have like a wave ID and then invite people to your wave. But this could be like a building block for kind of for like focusing and helping us focus on what we need to. But really just to kind of bring a lot of like energy in how we build. I think that's one of my favorite sayings, is that sometimes it's less like, well, what's the saying? It's culture eats strategy for breakfast, or like they're saying how you can, it sometimes even it's even more important about how you build than what you build. And so that's my focus with Waves, and also with TheSame.Page is I want to really dial in on that, like how we build in kind of a collective kind of communal way. And so that's my goal with Waves. Um, I have, let's see, on TheSame.Page, so I wanted to launch like a token for Waves. And I was even thinking maybe we could build this on top of Dash, or if they're talking about doing um, uh, like Solana has SPL tokens. Um, I was wondering if there was talks about like Dash doing something like that. It could also, my other thinking for Waves is that it could be like a reputation kind of token. So people could send it like as a tipping currency, or they could uh, they could wrap like Dash and Waves. But I don't want to just come to the Dash community pitching like a new coin. Like I want to build value, and I want to focus on the Dash protocol and building on top of that. And Waves is my idea for I think how we could kind of complement that.
Well,
And
while
add
you're saying
value.
that, we do. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we do have tokens coming to Dash platform very soon. So
That's
we will
awesome.
be able to make tokens both fungible and non-fungible. In other words, both um, unique and like one of what like where there's like one token or there's 1,000 tokens that are all the same, non-fungible, fungible. Just in case anybody needs to know about that distinction. That's coming to Dash soon. So I would say, we built that for a reason. So that'd be good to test that idea on Dash. But I also wanted to know a little bit more before you move on to what's your experience with Solana? Anything you want to say about that? Like, what are they doing right? What have you noticed there? What are they doing wrong? Yeah, it's like compare and contrast, if you would.
Okay, so one of my the two big things I want to kind of talk about a little bit of the differences. Solana is like this. It's really big. They've gotten a lot of momentum and energy and a lot of development, and it's almost like too big. It's almost like overwhelmingly big, where you kind of feel like lost in the masses. And I know like the easiest and the best and the strongest solution to that is to develop your voice. Develop your voice on different platforms, create content, build up a community. Um, and I really liked kind of like the close knit culture of the Dash community a little bit more. I feel like we're a little bit more. It's kind of like smaller team kind of based. But what I've learned from working with and learning in the Solana community um, is that it's very like value driven, and they're very like kind of number driven and like kind of KPI driven, and in order to kind of
Key
get funding in
performance
some of
indicator.
those, or yeah, and it can they're kind of like um, what's the word? I think I think the big thing for me is just that it was it wasn't as like again it's the close knit network of the Dash community. Um,
It didn't feel
and
homey, kind of.
yeah, it didn't feel homey. It's like how do I describe it? Um, it's the other big thing is um, they're a little on the like elitist side, and I don't want to get bad rep for kind of saying that, but they kind of
I don't
like
think they're watching this
I
channel. Just so.
I watch it now. I mean, like, and I really one of my biggest values is like inclusion. Like, I think we should give people chances. Like, I think we should help people like get started at like at any level.
Mhm.
Um, and Dash is more on that like inclusive side and giving people chances. And Solana was like had have these very high expectations and kind of standards.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, where are all
And
the people coming from? I just wonder, where are all these users? Do you think that there are really a lot of users there, and where are they all coming from, and why are they there? That's what I want to know.
hmm, um,
Because if we do have this opposite problem where Dash feels at home, it's a good, inclusive, cozy environment. We're all, we can all fit under one roof, kind of thing. But
hmm,
so that has its pros, but it also has its cons. And then Solana is on the other side of the spectrum where it's a huge community and you feel lost, and uh, it's kind of a corporate KPI driven thing rather than like people enjoy each other. Like, what I think we could strike a balance where we can learn from what they're doing,
exactly.
but
I was
also
going to
stay
say
true
that
to our values. That would be the ideal, but I
we need
just
to
don't
have a
know where they're all
balance
coming
of
from.
both those. Sorry to cut you off.
No, no, yeah. Where are all the users coming from if they really are in fact users?
Hmm. Um, a lot of it is they kind of have this like build culture, and that's permissive throughout all the other networks, but it's very um, I think they kind of rely a lot on like word of mouth, and they're very about creating an experience rather than trying to like, I mean they do this, but rather they're more about creating the experience of building products rather than like creating hype or trying to sell kind of something. But um, I
What
think
products do they have that are
they
exciting?
have I mean, like Super Team. They have Lulo, which is like a crypto savings account. Um, Lulo. So I mean, they have a lot of infrastructure and a lot of projects. And the other thing is that
How do how are all these builders building? Do you know? Do you have any insights about like how are they attracting the builders? If the users are coming because the builders are building cool things, how are they getting the builders?
um, they're content driven. Like um, they're very like it's a very kind of engaged network where um, people share their perspective and create content. And I think that um, I think I think honestly it's more of like a word of mouth kind of network. Like I think nobody wants to really be like the loudest blockchain. They want to be like the strongest blockchain, if that makes sense. Like they don't want to be the like nobody wants to be like the degen kind of community or have that kind of leading the way. Um, but yeah, it's Solana's really cool, but again, it's like it's it's too big that it's overwhelming, and I like the tight knit dynamics. Um,
Well, I'm not in the Solana community at all. I don't really, yeah, I haven't even researched it there very much. I just know it from my third party perspective and what I think they're doing. You correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what they're doing is they have a lot of VC funding to fund the developers that build the cool things and that get the users. And so it all starts with funding, and that's I always try to put this plug in because Dash has that capability of funding projects if we can get the good builders to get funding from Dash. And so that is one of my main purposes, is to try to get good builders to get them funded through the Dash treasury. And so that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier of getting engagement with masternode owners. But yeah, do you have anything else to say about that? And if not, then we'll move on to your next slide.
I'm gonna move on. So I created so I'm still learning. I'm not a I'm still learning how to code, but I was using AI in this app to create like this mock-up website. And so one of them was so with Waves. I have the domain waves.fund, and I
Mhm.
thought that could be like a funding platform that maybe even Dash could use for community, like a community driven projects, where instead of like treasury funds, it could be like crowd funds. You could have matching funds. And so what I did, just as a simple, so I could get some experience, I created like a website that is just like a placeholder kind of um, I created a dash address. And then here, I'll show it on the screen right
Oh,
now.
okay. Yeah, we're not seeing it if that was your
You're
intention.
not seeing it? Okay.
Not
Can you
yet.
see,
So you probably shared your
can you see this
window
now?
instead of, yes, we see this. Yes.
Okay. Do you see the dash anime? The
Yep.
loading.
Yep. Cool.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make this as like a placeholder, kind of as like a crowdfunding website too. So I had the Waves Fund that you can copy the address, and I want to make it so that you can include information about like your wave or like your project. So like a wave owner or like a wave guide. And then I contributed 5 Dash to this treasury, and what I want to do is allow the community to vote on how that's used. So allow the community to vote on which or a project that this gets allocated to. And then I have like a funding wave. So like wave 0.1, I want to raise 10 Dash. Um, and then I just made like, this is like an ad for like impact projects in the blockchain space. And then I made this as like a text channel for, you can have set your username and you can comment. You can put your dash address, and then you can type a message in AI that I built called Alpha AI. But this is just kind of me experimenting. And then I have like a view count at the bottom, so it logs the views. And what I want to do is have this so it automatically updates, so showing what's in that address. And then I want to make polls at the bottom that allow the community to vote on how it's used. So yeah, so community kind of driven funding. Do you like the animation in the background?
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
very very lively.
yeah, is it cool?
I'm also
Yeah, so
I'm seeing time spent and I'm seeing waves raised. Is that
yeah,
you're saying
that's
people would get
that
paid for?
so I made this like interactive thing, and so I wanted to do it like about like views. Like if you visit the website, you could like your attention could contribute to it. Was kind of my thinking. And so that's why there's no actual like you don't. I haven't launched the token yet or anything. This is not real. So
Mhm.
this is just if you hover over this, it shows waves raised. And then I wanted to make it so that if you shared it, like it would save this in between sessions. So like it shows how many people have like raised attention around this kind of. So kind of having like attention driven. Um, um, yeah, like how many people are behind something. Um, so yeah, this was just me kind of experimenting. And then I made this called Unit Dash, like this game. And I'm still working on this, but you can share like a message to the world. Oh wait, can you still see my screen?
We can still see the screen, but not what you're typing into.
No, you're typing. Okay. Here. So I made this Unit Dash game, but here's the thing: like we don't even have to build like these huge mega projects within Dash. Just anything that uses it, and that does that make sense? Like that kind of build culture of like building like smaller projects and
Mm-hmm.
ideas. Um, so yeah, so I made this. It's like a game. I was talking to I think is he still in here? Black Mirror. Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah. I played
So
this
he's
game. I saw it.
You played
Yeah.
it, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want to add like a leaderboard and maybe make like attach it to a faucet so that like it rewards like the top players in the leaderboard. We could even make it. I was even gonna make it so it shows like I have like a dash like ad at the bottom. But yeah, I was gonna expand upon this.
Okay.
um,
Cool. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, this is the classic Flappy Bird
yeah, Flappy
game,
Bird.
Dashified, and yeah, it's fun. You just press the space bar and it bounces you up, and then you grab these things. So what I was thinking with this is, it would be very cool to have some kind of to put the leaderboard statistics onto platform so that it's persistent and multiplayer. So that's one, you know, easy kind of thing that well, I say easy, but I mean like conceptually easy thing that would be add value to Dash and Dash platform in terms of testing, and then getting people to use it. So yeah, I like the idea. I like the idea in general of like just building lots of little things and seeing what sticks. So I like the direction that you're going here.
Hey, thank you. So yeah, just to recap. So then this is our main website for the same page. It's kind of a temporary website. It's kind of informational. But what I wanted to do was also make it so that you could apply for grants. And I want to do like grants where they could be like sponsored by individual builders or sponsored by, I call it a sponsor. So um, this is what we've been working on. I came up with the idea for a kind of like a name for our community and team called like the same team. But I also I want to like in the cybersecurity kind of infosec space. What I want to do is like kind of get the Dash DAO like more responsible and also like safer, more secure, and like I think this could be like a organizing unit that could help with like some of the like tasks like verifying or reviewing things kind of. So I'm still like coming up with this idea, but I just called it the same team. And I kind of go into detail about how these dynamics could work. So you create a page, and then if the community approves it, the page shows up on our website, and you get access to funding. You can apply for a waive. You can create a new page on the Pages tab. Create your history. Write your page in the history book of the decentralized web. And yeah, our main thing is just matchmaking. So matchmaking project owners and founders with sponsors and investors. I This was just like an example of like a profile. So you have your page ID, you have your pages that you've written, what you've worked on. What I want to do with the pages protocol is kind of make it like, again, what do we need to get on the same page about, and kind of make it so that it's like you can go onto our website, create a new page, and then I want to track like engagement around that as well. So maybe even give like attention rewards, and integrate that with Dash. So that's kind of my thinking. So yeah, so this is the same page. Right now I'm looking for a co-founder to build it with, and I'm looking to build a team for it. And I was wanted to start it up within the Dash community, to kind of build up a team or build a wave within the Dash community, to do kind of collective community projects. So ideas built together. And then these are some of our values: transparency, learner's mindset, decentralization. And then we just have a store. I have gear, or like I made sweatshirts and stuff. Okay. But we're just getting started. But this is just an example. So yeah, this is what I've been up to.
On the team page, on the team section, I noticed like 3 people. Are those real people, or do you actually have a team so far, or is it just you?
So those were guys in the beginning that I was working with. They're not active or involved anymore.
Okay, so that's why you're looking for another co-founder.
Yes, I'm looking for a co-founder.
Okay.
So yeah, and I know it might not happen overnight. So I'm looking to kind of reestablish myself within the Dash community, help improve engagement, meet some people, meet some new builders that have joined. And I want to see if I can help with the incubator, and maybe I could be one of the like community kind of project managers for the incubator, or help with projects, like answer questions for people.
Yeah, I'll talk with you after the show a little bit more about that. In general, my approach with the incubator right now is that I want to help folks like you get started, but also to get on your own 2 feet and have your own independent proposal as soon as possible. So that's my goal, is to to be an incubator, but also a little bit less like shorter term. So in the past, we've worked with some developers for years, and that has worked. But more moving forward, I want to try to get people on their own two legs, independent, and also so that masternode owners can can judge and fund or not fund those developers with more granularity, rather than kind of like being in the incubator too long. So that's what I'll say right now about that, just because I think it is relevant to other people, and so anybody watching can know that.
I think that is a good point. It's like you're not. It's at the end of the day, the goal and the purpose is to build ideas, and so like I like that it's like less time spent in there and more on, right, that's kind of the goal.
To get you on your own as soon as possible, and I think that's the best for everybody involved, both the incubator and the MNOs and the independent projects, because the sooner you can get that direct feedback and like responsibility, the better. So yeah, but people do need a place to land in Dash, and so that's what the incubator, that's what I'm trying to do, is give people a platform and a place to kind of throw around ideas, talk with me about what I think the community would value, what it might not, what's worked, what hasn't worked. So I'll talk with you more about that after the show. But anything else that you wanted to share? We've gone for 50 minutes now. What else do you want to say as your parting message to the Dash community?
Just that I'm really looking forward to come back with a lot of energy, and kind of a new and kind of evolved and more mature mindset. And I hope that you guys give me another chance to kind of build up trust. And I know, like before, I have a lot of ideas, but I'm looking to take action and implement and kind of be be an integrator. So that's my goal. And so I appreciate your support. I also appreciate all of your feedback. If any of you guys have ideas or comments on some of the ideas we've shared, and if you're interested in either partnering or contributing, or wanting to be a partner with me, you can just message me in the Dash Discord, or on Twitter. And yeah, I appreciate you guys be willing to work with me again. I like this community. This is like I like kind of what we stand for, and I like our mindset. And I think what we need to do is kind of step up together, like as a network, and get more people engaged and participating. And I want to inspire people to build on Dash. And I think that should kind of, that could be kind of what we do as a community, is like kind of focus on that empowerment aspect, because that's my biggest thing that I kind of got from working with you guys and my experience with the Dash community, is the energy. Yeah, I'll be available in the Discord if you guys want to message me. My email is also just SamePage visions@gmail.com. So if you're interested in being a partner with me, I'm also looking for some developers to help me build our website for the in our protocol for Waves. So yeah, thank you guys for your time, and thanks for listening.
Yeah, and thank you for you've done a lot of work on your own, and I just wanted you to know that kind of shows. Like, a lot of people haven't done this much work when they approach me in the incubator. So thanks for doing all that you've done so far, and I look forward to working with you in the future. So everybody, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.
Oh yeah, thank you guys. See you.